welcome to your first Sountrap tutorial. And it should be a lot of fun. So, first, we need to save and name the file. So, as you can see, the name is up here. It says my name and then beat one. You're not going to change beat one, you're just going to change my name. So I click on that, and you put your full name in caps, just like that, and then press save. That's what you do right away. Also remember, please um, fill out your full name in capital letters on each assignment. I will not grade your assignment otherwise. If it does not have your name on it, then you do not get a grade. So please put your name on there. All right, and your full name, not just Joey. I don't know which Joey this is. Your full name. All right. So first, uh, uh, for this project, we will be using loops and loops only. So step one is the beat. Try to find beats that last all 8 measures or at least 4 of them. Then extend them to 8 measures. The 8 measure beats tend to have more depth and variety to them, which makes them more interesting to listen to. Each one of these numbers here correspond to a different measure. This is the beginning of measure 1, the beginning of measure 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. So your beat should end right before this 9. So it should be 8 measures and fill up right before 9. So I'm going to go over here where this music symbol is, and that is where you'll find your loops. What'll come up is, it might look like this is featured and show these loops, right? But I just clicked on that, and then I'm just going to put in beats and drums, because we want a drum beat only. No bass, no anything else attached to it, just a drum beat. Now, I think you guys should go and listen to all these and see which ones you like the best. All right. I'm just gonna pick a few and they're all here by alphabetical order. Now the other beats were just drum beats, but that had a piano in it as well. Do not pick that one. All right. Um. So, so I went and listened to all these beats and found some of my favorites for this demonstration. So, I'm going to pick Midnight Beat number 1 full for this. This is the beat I chose, and also as you see this heart thing, if you like a beat, click heart on it. If you click these hearts that are here, you know, then you can just label the beats you like, and then when you click favorites, it'll come up. Now make sure that this is like your cursor, right? Make sure that's all the way to the left, and all you have to do to add this beat is double click on it, right? So I put my mouse over here, double click, and it plays. Now that's my beat. Notice that it lasts all the way through to the 9. That's what you want. If it only goes this far, then you'd have to like extend it, which, if you see me going into the upper right hand corner of this and you see that loop thing, then I can just drag it this way and it loops it. Right now it's gone to measure 14 up to measure 15, actually filled 15, 16, 17, and gone on. But I only want 9. Up to 8. So, bam, I got my 8 bars right there. and that's it. So as you add elements, you just double click on that. But let's listen to that beat one more time. Yeah. And if I want to play my stuff, I just use these buttons down here. So that's great. Now, I'm going to press save. After I add anything, you press save. Otherwise, this is not like Google Docs. It's not going to save it automatically. So you press save after you add everything. Otherwise, you will lose your stuff and have to rebuild it. All right. So next, let's add the bass. All right. Just like here, I click this X right here on the loops to give me a whole new selection. I can click bass. I've already clicked the favorites, but you have to unclick favorites, and then you can hit bass, and you'll see all the different bass types. Now here's what's fun, right? I can hit bass, and then I can also hit a style. So I get all the jazzy styles, right? That fall under jazz, or just jazz and R&B. But then, I can just go right here, click enter, and then I can have my jazz ones or my click here R&B ones, whichever styles you like. Or if you just have bass, it should have display all the basses. And here I'll just sample a few. So that's a sample of some of the bass sounds. But how would I know how it sounds with the rest of my music? All I have to do, which is great about this program, is I can press play and it'll add it right with it, and you'll hear exactly how they sound together. So that's what I'm going to do. And this function up here makes it loop. So it's just going to loop my thing. How does these beats sound with this? Here we go. And once I press stop here, it stops everything. So there you go. I did pick a favorite for this one as well, Gasoline number 4. If I put my cursor all the way to the left, right, to measure 1, double click, bam. And this is what it sounds like. Now if I play it with everything here, with the beat. Oh, I like it. So I'm going to press save because I like it. Now that you have a couple of tracks chosen, I want to show you how to use some of the basic track settings. Starting from left to right, you see the basic track settings. Notice that this is your track and you see these different symbols here. These are your basic track settings. Now, R is for recording. We won't be using that yet, so you don't have to worry about that one, but it's what you click on to record your vocals or other live instruments. You will have to give the computer permission to use your microphone. Later in the course, there will be a lesson on this function. Next, you see where it says VOL, and that's for volume, right? This stands for volume, and you can turn the volume up and down right here. I'll demonstrate it for you here. And that works with each track. Okay. Now, the next we have is the headphone symbol with the yeah, just like looks like that, the headphone symbol. This is the solo function. When you click this, only that track will play. You can solo more than one track at a time. This is good when you have a lot of tracks happening at once and you want to solo or listen to what a single track is doing. This function is called solo in GarageBand, Logic, and Pro Tools, and I'm calling it solo here. It will not have a headphone symbol in other programs. For example, in Logic, the solo button is a yellow S. It's just a yellow box with the letter S in it. Just so you know, this function exists on all recording software of note. Here, I'll demonstrate it for you. I'm just listening to just that. I'm soloing the beat. Unclick. All right, so that's the solo function. Um, Now, next you have the next you have oh yeah, right here, um, the speaker symbol with the X by it. That is mute and unmute, just as you saw right there. Um, so if I want to mute a track, uh, that's what I do. This is good for when you want to take an instrument out of the mix, you know, to so that you can have more detailed listening to the other instruments. All right, now, and that's your basic things. This one right here it shows you how to automate. This is automation. That symbol looks very much the same in Logic as well. Automation is when you can program when you want your stuff to go up and down. We are not going to mess with automation yet, so we're going to do. I'll give a lesson on that later when we start talking about our final mixes. But for now, these three functions you're going to use the most: volume, solo, this track, you're soloing, and you're muting the track. All right. Now that I have two elements decided upon, and I know how to use the basic track functions, I am ready to make the first of my two audio checks. Now, all right, audio check number one. Make sure your beat and bass line sound good together and inspire you. For me, if something sounds good, I start singing to it. Maybe for you, you tap your feet, or either way, when you have these two elements finished, you should like it. Since this beat is what the biggest influencer of what your music is going to sound and feel like. So, demonstrate your beat, listen to it, make sure you like it. After that, you're ready for step 3 and 4. When picking these elements, you are giving your beat fullness, dimension, and a solid chord structure. This is where listening becomes imperative. In most cases, you don't want these elements to make your beat feel different, especially since you like what you've made already. Step 3 and step 4 can be done in either order. Try to find something that fits and settles into what you've already made. How do you know it fits? Instruments added won't sound out of tune, and you'll be able to hear all the elements of your drum beat and bass clearly after you add other instruments without it being drowned out by what you're adding to the mix. So, let's get started. I like to get started with piano, so right now we're going to get started on the piano. All right, let's add some piano. Now, remember, It's important we hear how each layer we add functions in our music. Using elements that are not mixed at this stage will help us become better musicians and listeners. Use only elements that are standalone sounds for now. Yes, you will be graded on this. So we're going to add some piano, right? So let's listen to some of the pianos that we have. That one has a slight beat to it, so we're not using that. So there's a bunch of trippy pianos here, so that's awesome. And also, now here's the thing that's really wonderful about Sountrap. Down here, you can see we're in E minor, and the tempo is 140 beats per second, right? It automatically takes these loops and makes them into these keys unless it says otherwise. So that's what's nice about this. So you don't really have to worry too much about keys. But if you start to see keys over here, which will inevitably happen probably when we start choosing guitar parts, notice that they probably won't sonically fit unless the key is the same. But let's just sample a couple more. I like to play the thing along and then listen to it all together, so I'm going to do that. Yeah, none of these really sound amazing to me, though. As usual, I did pick one. I did have one that I did think that was nice before. So I'm going to see if I can find it here. It's like Red Sky 15. Yep, I already started. Red Sky 15. Let's hear what that sounds like. Love it. Double click. Bam. Red Sky 15. So that's what I got here. And this is with everything. All right, now that we've added some piano and we have 3 elements, right? We're almost to our 4th and final element that's required for this assignment. And once you start adding a bunch of things, things can start to get really kind of weird after a while or sound too busy. And so I want to introduce some theories of texture that I have. Now, this is Lardy's theory of texture. No one really taught me. I guess this is kind of what my theories are from experience. So like when you go off in your world, there's going to be the musical terms that you use that will be everywhere in the world, and there'll be the Lardy stuff that I'm teaching you that's just Lardy stuff. What I'm about to say right now is just Lardy stuff, but I'm Lardy and I think it's true. Okay, so basically, just bear with me, but I'm about to get artsy fartsy. Music is a representation of time and space. At all times, we're moving through both time and space. The more you move through one, the less you move through the other, and vice versa. So, the more you move through space, the less you move through time, and vice versa. Musical elements are the same way. Some elements lean more towards filling and marking time. Other elements lean more towards filling and marking inside space. Um, when we make our initial beat, we have we had only bass and drums, and usually what happens automatically is that drums move through time because they have that tick 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 tick, and they have that. It's almost like a clock. They have that tick, and then the bass is moving more through space, and that's easy to memorize because bass and space rhyme. When we add other elements, we have to listen more closely and ask, is this moving more through space or more through time? It will be moving through both, but which is it moving more through, space or time? If I add an element that is moving more through time, my next element should move more through space and vice versa. You always want your music to have a balance between time and space whenever possible. Balance your elements to move equally through both. For most listeners, this can sound very pleasing. But if something is all beat and something is all space, well, then you kind of have all beat, all space, and you don't have a real representation of space and time. In this example, for me, the piano moves a little bit more through space than time. If I was just to isolate the piano all by itself, right? You can kind of hear that it's just kind of like doesn't really like it just blings, blings. It's not like a clock tick 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 marking the seconds. It doesn't do that. That's like something that moves through. That's like marking. It's inside of time. It's marking the time. The pulses. It has pulses, but they're farther away, so it's harder to feel time inside of it. And so for me, that's moving more through space than time. That's just my personal opinion, but that's the example. So when I go and try to layer my guitar on here, I'm going to try to find something that moves, that has a little bit of pulse to it, that pulses a little bit more than on this one, which is on every measure, right? Something that feels in between, that marks the time in between what the guitar is doing. So the guitar is doing that, right? Something that's like inside of it, right there, marking the time to make it clear. I mean, something like that. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Wish me luck. All right. Now it is time to add some guitar strings. Okay. All right. So here we go. I'm going to clear that. I'm going to find my guitars, click on my guitars, listen to a few. So you can see there's already some cool guitars on here. I'm going to press play and see what I find. Now that one sounds a little out of tune. If I was to choose that, right? One thing that like you want your stuff to do is sound good. What you want your elements to sound good if they're by themselves with other things. So that sounds nice by itself. If I was to add that piano to it, it sounds it's interesting, but no, it's not. There's some dissonance in there, and it's just that's not what you want your textures to do. This is when your stuff can get really messy, right? If I play any texture, it should sound good with any other texture. Sounds good with the beat, but sounds okay with that. Not the best, but it definitely does not sound good with this. Right there. Okay. Yeah. So that's what you want to not have. I'm going just like a word processor. Just like a word processor, I'm going to press Command Z to undo, 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 and then all the other commands I did to get rid of that. All right, pressing save because I do like this. What I've got so far. Keep searching. I did listen to a bunch of these. There was one that I found that I thought was really sounded really kind of nice. Um, Western, I think it was called. Uh, yes, I hearted it. Western, and look, it says E minor, just like it says here, E minor. That's the key. That's the key. And sounds like this. Now, what I like about it is that it 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 kind of it does move through time a little bit because it has an echo. It's like and those pulses kind of make it kind of mark the time for me, um, more so than the other one has, but it does have that big bling. So it's kind of like moving through time slow and fast with the bling, but also with the bling inside of it. So I'm going to add that, double click, and play it. I'm going to go from the beginning so you can hear it. I like it. I like it. I'm keeping it. I'm pressing save. Bam. And also remember, as long as you use the link that I provided, every time you save, it's like handing it in again, handing in a new refreshed version. So there you go. All right. Now we're ready for audio check number 2. This is when I make sure that my second audio check happens, and like I want to make sure that the new layers I added sound good when they are alone or with any other tracks by itself, just like I was checking before. So, if you do this with your headphones loud, that's going to be a problem because it's much easier to listen and hear dissonances and things that are wrong when your headphones are lower or when the volume is low. When the volume is loud, things are out of tune, you can't really hear it. When the volume is low and things are out of tune, you definitely hear it. So turn your stuff down or your music might make you frown. So I'm going to listen to this real quick and use the solo so that we can see and you can see how each element sounds with everything else and see how it fits. Sounds together. Yeah. Sounds good. So everything sounds in tune to me. Um, there is a slight, very, very, very slight distance between the Red Sky and Western, but it's just kind of like in the reverb, and it's also like in like the chord shift, but it's fine. It's not like it's not bad. It's not like out of tune. It's not as if let's say I was gonna add the A minor Western, right? So if I add that, you'll see how that sounds interesting. So you can see how that sounds dissonant, and if I was to put these two together, it would probably not sound good together at all. Well, it doesn't sound half bad. Interesting. But then if I add this, that's yeah, and it's also just not so clear. So, bye, Felicia. Also, you can click on these things right here where it says these three dots. You get a couple more selections. One is delete track. Bam. All right. So this is my beat. This is my beat. I'm going to save it right there. Um, Now you can have up to 2 extra tracks, right? At at some point though, we're gonna take some of these stuff and add vocals to it, but um, vocals will probably add a lot of melody onto what you're doing onto your phrases, but doesn't always have to. If there was anything I found along the way that was nice, was very melodic, maybe I would add it here, just for a little extra thing. There was one thing I found. It's called Red Guitar Loop 6 in E minor. Yep, I'm going to add that. It sounds like this. I like it. So altogether, it sounds like this. So yeah, no more than 6 layers, but you have to have a beat, a bass line, a piano, and guitar. If you want to add anything else after that, you're more than welcome to. You're allowed to add up to 2 layers. But that's it. So congratulations. You know, that's how you do your beat. There you have it. My first beat. Now, uh, now it's your turn. If you follow the link provided in Google Classroom for your beats and save your work, I'll be able to see it. So turn it in and save it. And that's all you have to do is save it. Make sure you have your name in all caps. Do that. Congratulations. And I really look forward to what you guys are going to be making.